Hey everyone, this is something helpful for you to know. Let's talk about understanding the difference between using passive voice and active voice. Now, I'm just on here sharing educational knowledge with you that I have gained over 10 years of practicing law. With that said, let's begin. In this first example, you are going to see two motorcycles that have two different riding styles. The first motorcycle is going to represent passive voice, and the second motorcycle is going to represent active voice. And you are going to look at the different riding styles and writing styles. Did you catch that one? Riding styles and writing styles. Okay, let's take a look. First, this is your passive voice bike. And while I sit on this passive voice bike, let's look at a sentence that uses passive voice. The soccer ball was kicked by Sally. Who or what is the subject of the sentence? The soccer ball. Well, why should you focus on the soccer ball? That's the whole problem. You should not focus on the soccer ball in the sentence. Sally, the person who kicked the soccer ball, should be the focus. However, this sentence is written in passive voice, and that's why the focus in this sentence is wrong. Now, let's look at passive voice in the context of the first motorcycle. So, passive voice is okay to use. It can serve a valid purpose. It is functional, and the writing or riding style does make sense. And there are times when you might want to write in passive voice. However, in general, passive voice is not as easy and not as comfortable to read. And because of the lack of ease, passive voice is generally much less engaging and therefore not as effective and has a much lower performance in your writing and writing. Now let's look at the active voice bike. And while I sit on the active voice bike, let's look at a sentence that uses active voice. Here is the sentence. Sally kicked the soccer ball. Wow, what a positive difference. Active voice is great. Active voice has a smoother power delivery. It is much easier and more comfortable to read. In addition, active voice is far more enjoyable to write and ride and read with much less strain on you physically, and therefore active voice has an overall better performance. And because it is effectively written in a direct, concise, straight to the point writing style, you can read this sentence at a faster, higher speed with much better flow and understanding. Now, let's look at another example of passive voice versus active voice. And this example focuses on a general provision or a clause in a contract. Let's look at the following sentence using passive voice. All improvements of the product that are made hereafter shall timely be disclosed. Okay, pause. Okay, pause. Let's repeat the sentence more slowly. All improvements of the product that are made hereafter shall timely be disclosed. Huh? The passive voice contract clause states, shall timely be disclosed. However, the clause does not tell you who must disclose the improvements of the product. The clause does not tell you which person or which company has the responsibility, has the duty, or the obligations to disclose improvements. Do you see the problem with this contract clause written in passive voice? Now consider this. It is helpful to know what the person or company who prepared the contract means when they drafted the contract provision or clause using the word shall. Now, generally and very commonly, the word shall in a contract is meant to be mandatory. However, that's definitely not always what actually happens. Generally, shall can be translated to mean has a duty to, or shall can mean will, or is, or must, etc. But there is no way to be sure of the intention of the word shall without getting clarification from the person or company who drafted the contract clause and making sure that all parties have the same understanding, etc. But still, the word shall can potentially be interpreted in different ways. So still looking at the contract provision that is written in passive voice, let's replace the word shall and read it again. Replacing the word shall, the clause now reads, all improvements of the product that are made hereafter have a duty to timely be disclosed. Or, all improvements of the product that are made hereafter must timely be disclosed. So what do you think of the replacement terms? Are those terms helpful? Do they provide more clarity to the contract provision? Those are just examples. However, even with replacing the word shall, the same issue involving the use of passive voice continues to exist, because the ongoing issue with passive voice is that you still do not know who must disclose the improvements of the product. Which person or which company has this responsibility based on the contract clause that you just read? We do not know. And this is the problem with using passive voice. Now let's look at an active voice example. XYZ company and ABC company must timely disclose all improvements of the product. Wow, what a difference! The contract clause written in active voice was so much more easier and clear to understand. You can get your point across more effectively and efficiently when you write an active voice, because now you know exactly who is responsible for disclosing the improvements. XYZ company and ABC company are responsible. This clause is assertively written, easy to comprehend, and it is simply direct and concise. Let's do a quick summary. This video is meant to highlight the effectiveness of using active voice in your writing. There are times when passive voice is an ideal approach to take, but that's not what this video is about. Using active voice in your writing makes it easier to understand the important points that you want to emphasize. In addition, active voice is generally more engaging. It is, after all, a direct way to communicate, and it is a faster way for everyone to process the information being presented more effectively, because again, it focuses on being concise and straight to the point. If you know who or what is doing the action up front, you can understand the writing more effectively. That's active voice. Writing an active voice just has an immediate, impactful, assertive approach that can be incredibly helpful and beneficial in so many ways for everyone. And by using active voice, you can reduce and decrease the potential for misunderstandings and misinterpretations. And for more education, please subscribe. Thank you. Thank you, and have a great day.